We have a desk in front of me, and that can only mean one thing. We're making the tier list today. When was the last time I even made a tier list? I know, it was my exorcism video that no one watched. Not a pity party, I'm just pointing out a fact. Was not my best tier list I've ever made. So fingers crossed this one is better, and I know it will be because today we are going to be ranking every horror movie that I've ever given 5 stars to. Now, naturally, this is going to include a lot of classics, but it's also going to include a lot of newer movies because I used my own Letterboxd ratings for this video, and I only started using Letterboxd maybe back in, 2019? So it's been about 5 or 6 years. So any movies that I watched prior to that, I would have given 5 stars, I did not log. So I don't really know what they would be. I'm sure if I thought about it, I could come up with a lot more. In fact, I think there are probably a million more movies. I could just probably look at my collection and pull a bunch of 5 stars off the shelf, but we already have 33 movies in this video, and we don't need this video to go on until the end of time. It probably will already because of how many movies we have, and because I rated them all 5 stars, I'm naturally gonna wanna talk about them and gush about them a lot, so make sure to grab a snack, grab a beverage. Today I'll be drinking my Factor drink. This is one of their cold pressed juices, one of my favorite flavors, pineapple, turmeric, basil, and I'm just so grateful to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen meals right to your door, and they've recently upgraded their entire menu, and I'm so excited about it. All of their meals are dietitian approved, no refined sugars, no refined seed oils, and they are all delicious. They are all restaurant quality, which I can attest to. I've been eating Factor for a long time now, and let me tell you, they are so yummy. Lately, I've been much more focused on my fiber intake and my protein intake, and every Factor meal has a great amount of both of those things. So it supports my gut health and my protein goals, which I love. All while only taking about 2 minutes in the microwave. And obviously I work from home, so on my busy days, it is so nice and convenient to be able to just pop one in the microwave for 2 minutes, be able to meet my fiber and protein goals of the day and also my nutritional needs with a really tasty dietitian approved meal. Now, I mentioned that they upgraded their menu. They actually doubled the amount of meals that they offer. So they have over 80 different meal options that are rotated weekly. I'm also super excited as well. Not only have they upgraded their meal menu, but they have added even more exciting flavors, offering more Asian and Mediterranean dishes. And now they have over 30 global cuisine meals. So make sure to head to factor75.com or click the link in the description down below and use my code POSSESSEDFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for an entire year. That is code POSSESSEDFB50 at factor75.com plus free breakfast for 1 year. The link will be in the description box down below as well. I will say the offer is only valid to new Factor customers using my code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Do you have a beverage? Do you have a snack? Let's get into it. This is going to be a hefty one. My tier lists always are. If you're new here, welcome, but also warning, my tiers don't make any sense. They never have and they never will because I have fun with it. Is this gonna be a classic ranking from best to worst? Of course it's not. I'm gonna sort these into random categories like Hogwarts houses, okay? And I'm not gonna lie to you, I also included movies in this that I gave a 4.5 star rating to because honestly, upon evaluation, they deserve a 5. Honestly, a 4.5 rating, invalid. I feel like that shouldn't even be an option on Letterboxd, but just give it a 5, you know what I mean? So I included those movies as well. You know the drill. Oh, I should probably start screen recording. You know the drill. We are building the tiers first. So on top tier category, we're gonna call this category No Debate. Everyone would give these movies 5 stars. I'm gonna try not to put every single movie here because obviously I think they all deserve 5 stars, but these are ones that I think everyone would probably agree with me on, or at least a majority would probably rate these movies 5 stars. The next category is a little bit basic. We're calling it beginner. These are also kind of no-brainers to me, but I think a majority of people should at least watch these movies. Whether or not you give them a 5 star is neither here nor there. I think all of these should be a required viewing for even non-horror fans as well. I'm gonna go so far as to say that most people should actually watch these movies. Maybe they won't deserve a 5 star, but you should at least watch them. Next up is a classic category of underrated. I mean underrated in the very literal sense that people underrate it, like rate it less than 5 when I think it obviously deserves a 5, but I think famously it is rated below a 5. Does that make sense? Just literally underrated. Not like hidden gem underrated, but like rated less, you know? Last category I am calling And I'd Do It Again. These are movies that I probably am the only person on earth to give a 5-star, and I would do it again. Yes, I would. All right, let's just jump right into the 33 movies. Which one are we gonna pick first? I don't know. Listen, it's new, sure, but here we are. I said a lot of them would be new probably in the last couple years or so, so why not start with the most recent horror movie that has come out, Weapons. You know, upon first viewing, I was like, this would originally go in the category of no debate. But upon reading all of my comments, it seems a lot of people disagree that this is not an obvious 5 out of 5. So given that, where do I put this? What is it even rated on Letterboxd? That'll decide. That'll be the deciding factor. What is Letterboxd? What is Weapons rated on Letterboxd? I assume high. 3.8. That's not that high. Underrated. I don't think it's a movie that everyone should watch because clearly it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, okay? So in my opinion, it is quite literally underrated. Longlegs, okay? Another new one, naturally. This is also very difficult because, I don't know, I feel like it could go in no debate, but it could also go in underrated. But I think it's an obvious, like, people would watch it and understand why someone would give it a 5 out of 5. You know what I mean? So maybe, does it just go in no debate? I don't know. What's the Letterboxd score on this guy? 3.3. Man, okay, so I thought no debate was going to be my heavy category. Maybe underrated. Because what do you mean you guys are just rating it a 3? Longlegs a 3? Okay. All right, I guess it's going to go in underrated as well. Why is it always makes 2? So far, this video is starting off very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Let's see what's next. Oh, perfect. This one will be a good one. Train to Busan. This obviously goes in no debate, but I actually want to put it in beginner because I put the caveat on that category that everyone should watch this, including non-horror fans. I think non-horror fans can have an appreciation for this movie. I don't think it's too scary by any means. There are definitely those moments, but I think it deserves to be viewed by every single person on earth. I think every single person should be required to watch that one, even if you don't like horror. Alien Romulus, another new one. I'm sorry. This one for me, I thought originally I was going to put this in a different category. I know exactly where this is gonna go because apparently people do not like this movie. It's going and I'd Do It Again. And I'd Do It Again. People were surprised by my rating of 5 stars for Alien Romulus. I'm curious if it's rated higher than Longlegs or Weapons. 3.6. Okay, so it's about the same as Weapons. Understandable. Next up, what do we have? Oh, The Witch. Yeah, this I think is in no debate. I know there's obviously going to be a group of people who dislike all of these movies, okay? I recognize that there's always going to be that category of people, but I think it is very well known and understood that The Witch is a good movie. Whether, you know, you disagree or not, that's fine. But I think most people would not really debate someone rating that movie 5 stars. That's not like the craziest thing they've ever heard of, you know what I mean? Although I will say Robert Eggers is very hit or miss for me as an audience to his movies, like questionable sometimes. Alien. I don't even have to expand on this one. This is an obvious 5 out of 5. Actually, this would actually be really good in beginners too, because I think even horror fans would have an appreciation for Alien, the original, because it's not that scary, all in all. Like, all things considered, the horror is psychological, okay? Every Alien movie is a different genre, and the first Alien is psychological horror. The second movie is action horror. So I think everyone could like it, but I have to put it in no debate because there's no debate that Alien is a perfect movie. Sunshine is kind of a weird one, I think. I can't get over the Photoshop job on this picture that I chose. It is just so funny with Cillian Murphy's head on there. But it's a perfect movie to me. I love rewatching this. Obviously, I love space horror. So I'm gonna say, you know what, this is a classic case of underrated. This is an underrated movie by far. I think people don't have the same appreciation for it as me, but I don't think it's so bad as to put it in I'd Do It Again. And I don't even think that category is bad, obviously. But I just think some people like hate those movies that I'm gonna put in that category. I don't think anyone hates sunshine. You know, it's a neutral kind of movie. So I think underrated, that's fine. Smile 2 is one of those that is actually a 4.5 for me. And I just think that's a little silly to give in general, to give a movie a 4.5. I've done it many, many times, and you'll see all of them in this video. But that needs to be a 5. That needs to be a 5-star. It can't go in beginners because, you know, I think it's better than the first one, but it's a sequel. You can't just jump right into it with just that one. I do think there is a debate. I don't think a lot of people would agree that Smile 2 is a 5-star movie. What does the general consensus say on Letterboxd? I'm not going to base every decision on Letterboxd. I'm just curious if it genuinely is underrated, in my opinion. 3.2. Definitely underrated. CZ's World gave it 1.5. Sir, what are you doing? Did we watch the same movie? Again, there's plenty of 1- and 2-star reviews when it comes to Smile 2, but I don't think it's like overly hated, so I don't want to put it in I do it again. We'll put it in underrated. Did not see this category becoming so popular, but maybe that's just the beginning of the video. We shall see. Wait, why is there another smile there? Starry Eyes. This is one of those movies that I would love to be known for, and I hope all of you associate me with a handful of movies, and this being one of them. It's one of my favorite movies to recommend because it is literally underrated. It's a hidden gem, you know? So I can't put it in the top 2, but it is a movie that I really, really love, but it is a classic underrated film in the sense also that people just haven't really seen it, you know? Final Destination, Bloodlines, and I do it again. I think this is the only Final Destination movie I gave 5 stars on Letterboxd, but I don't think I've logged the other movies on Letterboxd. Have I ever logged the other Final Destination films on here? I've only ever logged Final Destination 5 at a 3.5. Honestly, that's a little low. I haven't logged any of the other ones. So the other ones I would also probably say are 5 stars, but we're just working with what I have logged so far. So Final Destination Bloodlines, I would do that again. I would give that a 5-star again. It was a good time. I was having a great time with that one in the theater, and yeah, no notes on that. The Thing, horror classic, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I think this one is pretty obvious. Unfortunately, it's not going to be any surprise where the classics end up in this video, okay? I think it is well known this is a good movie, and it's funny because when it first came out, it wasn't seen as a good movie. It was actually underrated at its time when it, you know, first came out in theaters. Audiences didn't really like it, but it has since obviously grown a cult following, rightfully so, as it deserves. So obviously there's no debate. I think a lot of people can agree, or at least understand why we would give it a 5 stars. The Substance. This is an interesting one. Honestly, I kind of want to put it in beginners because I think there's going to be debate. It's like one of those movies that's kind of polarizing, like Weapons, where it's a perfect movie to me, but then there's going to be a group of people who don't agree, and so I can't really put it in no debate. But I think it is such a good movie that even non-horror fans would find enjoyment out of it, even if it is a little bit weird, okay? Yeah, sure, it gets weird, but I think all audiences would enjoy it to some capacity. So I think everyone should watch The Substance. I would recommend it to literally everyone. So I think that's kind of what that category is for. So I'm gonna pop it in there. Cabin in the Woods. I've seen this recent hatred for this movie online all of a sudden, that people think it's really overrated. Not sure what that's about. This is a very similar movie theater experience that I had with Weapons and The Substance, just a roller coaster of emotions and almost like whiplash, you know, just so exciting to watch in the theater. So for me, it was a perfect experience, perfect movie, completely subverts your expectations, and I think we all know about the twist by now. So honestly, I feel like beginner as well. I think most people would like this, although you do kind of have to have basic horror knowledge to find a lot of the commentary funny or, you know, on point. But I think most people have an idea, and I think that is a highly entertaining movie. So I think most people would probably like it. Cuckoo. Does this go with no debate? That might be a controversial placement for no debate, but I don't think there's any debate. I don't think you can watch that movie and be like, yeah, that was not a good movie. I don't think you could say that. Is it underrated? It's underrated. My heart. It's a 2.9 on Letterboxd right now. Okay, well that answers that. I genuinely thought people liked it. One of my friends gave it 1.5. What are you talking about? 1.5. That hurts. All right, it's going in underrated, I guess. I didn't realize there were so many cuckoo haters out there. I think it's a fantastic movie. Also, I gave it 5 stars. I was gonna say it was a 4.5. It's a 5. Triangle. My most recommended movie on this channel, if you've been subscribed for a long time. It is actually literally underrated, but I think it should go in beginner because it is a like psychological thriller almost. There are horror elements in there, and I think it's probably described a little bit as a horror movie, but I think it's one of those that most people would get enjoyment of, and I would recommend to literally everyone. So that's one I think everyone should watch, obviously, because I recommend it in every other video. Saw 10. And I'd do it again. I will say, spoiler, there's only one other Saw movie in this video, and I think, is it because I haven't logged the whole franchise? I'm not gonna look. I'm not gonna waste my time on Letterboxd's whole video. But Saw 10, perfect. It was so fun. It was just a fun, good time. But I'd do it again. I love Saw 10. I think it was a great final chapter. And I don't know if we're getting Saw 11 necessarily. There's rumors that we might. But I'm not going to get my hopes up. If it ends with Saw 10, I would be content with that because that movie is perfect, obviously. 5 stars. Get Out. I think this is going to be one where people would want to debate about it. But to me, there's no debate. It's a 5 out of 5. It's Jordan Peele's best movie, in my opinion. I know there's, you know, different people's rankings out there, but to me, it's his best movie, and it's a perfect movie. Like, I love Get Out, so I really don't think there's any question about rating that a 5 stars. Barbarian, see, I'm stuck in that weird space where it's another Zach Cregger movie, and I just think he's not for everyone. A lot of people hate Barbarian, but when I saw it, it blew me away, obviously. So I think I have to put it with its fellow film partner of Weapons in underrated. I think it just deserves to go in there because I'm sure if I looked up the rating, it would hurt as well. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, again, this is another one. I feel like classics aren't as horrific as some people probably think they are, and this is one where there's basically no gore. And I think that surprises a lot of audiences who aren't necessarily into horror. They assume the chainsaw, you know, there's a bunch of gore, but a lot of it is off screen, and I'm not saying it's not disturbing. There's definitely scenes. The hitchhiker scene is one of the most unsettling, like, realistic scenes I've seen in a film, and one of my favorites of all time. So it has its moments for sure, but again, it's a classic. I feel like there's no question. People rate it 5 stars all the time. I think it's just a classic for a reason. I loved that movie, obviously. Gretel and Hansel should go in underrated, but I'm gonna put it in I'd do it again because of all of the hate this movie got. I would obviously rate this 5 out of 5 every single time. This is another movie that I think was made for me. It's a very me movie, and I would love to be known for recommending it to people. It's Oz Perkins, okay? It's a beautiful film, but maybe not for the men. I don't know. They seem to be the ones most upset about it, but I would do it again. I'd rate it 5 stars any day of the week. Misery. I want to put all these classics in beginner because I feel like everyone should watch them. I think everyone should watch Texas Chainsaw, Alien, Misery. I think you should all watch it. Misery also, though, no question. The best Stephen King adaptation, in my opinion, no debate. It's a perfect film, and I think most people would probably agree. Haunt is the only 5-star Halloween movie, I think. I don't think I've rated any other Halloween film 5 stars before. Maybe Trick or Treat. You know, I would give a 5-star too, but Haunt is just so underrated and probably literally underrated. It's just lesser known, but I loved this movie. I had such low expectations. I thought it'd be like a low budget, cheesy kind of haunted house, or, you know, like haunt, you know, Halloween haunt type movie, but it turned out to be something completely different, and I was just really blown away. I love this movie. And it is going in underrated. Red Rooms. Okay, I can't put this in underrated. I don't even think that it is. I think everyone that has seen this has probably rated it a 4 out of 5. Or a 4 or 5 is what I meant to say. And I think this should go in beginners because I think there's not a lot of horror there, but the scenes that are unsettling are definitely horrifying. terrifying. So it's a little bit more psychological. Definitely underrated, of course. It's not as known from last year, but I think I would recommend this to everybody. Escape Room, just a fun, good time, and I would do it again. I would rate it 5 stars, no matter what. Actually, this was a 4.5 on my Letterboxd, which was really silly because I rewatched this movie. It's always a 5 out of 5, realistically. Like, why'd I give it a 4.5? I think I was just like scared to give it a full 5 because it was back in 2019 and I was like, you know, a little bit more serious about my Letterboxd at the time. And it's like, you know what? I had so much fun with it. I don't really have any criticisms about it. The sequel, though, no. The Descent, probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's in my top 10. Probably. I'd have to reevaluate my top 10, but I feel like it would be if I did another like updated top 10. It's just perfect. I don't necessarily want to put it in beginner. Do I put it in no debate? I feel like, are there haters of The Descent? I don't think it's underrated. I'm going to put it in no debate. I think I'm confident enough that it is well loved, that people get it. And I've always said this, so it ages so well. I don't know what it is, but it feels timeless of a movie. Suspiria, the remake. This one's going to be a tricky one because, no, I don't know. I don't know what other category I could have added into this video, but I feel like there should have been something for some of these movies because they're very hard to place. Because I don't know. I really don't know where I would put this. I'm not going to put it in I'd Do It Again because although I would, it's not controversial to like Suspiria or to give it such a high rating. It's not underrated, I don't think, but it's too weird to recommend to everybody. I'm not going to recommend this to my friend who doesn't like horror movies, okay? It's a little bit too strange. So I guess it's going in no debate. Is that fair? Is that safe to do? I don't know. That seems like a risky choice, but it's not that serious. We're just we're gonna leave it there. Pearl. My favorite of the trilogy. Honestly, beginner. I think everyone would like this. It is a little bit gory, okay? There's definitely some disturbing-ish scenes, but even my friends who don't watch a lot of horror movies have watched it and liked it. So I think that just proves that anybody can probably enjoy Pearl. I don't know about the whole trilogy. I don't know about X and Maxine, but Pearl I think stands out as a very unique film and people would just have appreciation for it. A Dark Song is just a beautiful movie. This is one I watched at the beginning of my grief journey and I don't think most people would rate it so high, but I think the headspace I was in made me rate it so high because it just affected me. So given that, we're gonna put it in underrated because I think it probably is underrated. It is lesser known as well, so I think it deserves to go in there because it's a little bit more of a gem, but highly recommend. Slow burn, but a beautiful film. The Ring. You know, to me, this is a classic movie. Everyone knows about it. I think most people like it. Right? I don't think I've ever looked it up. 3.3? Man, most people give it a 3 stars. That's underrated to me. But all of my friends give it like a 4 or a 5. So you know what? That's safe. I'm gonna put that in no debate. To me, there's no debate. Like you can't debate me on that. It's 100% always gonna be a 5 out of 5. And if you don't think that, then we just don't have anything in common, probably. The Blair Witch Project. Obviously, we know where this is gonna go as well. Honestly, given the hate this movie gets, it should go in and I'd do it again. But it's a classic, and I think a lot of people give this 5 out of 5. I think it's a perfect found footage. It does everything it needs to do for a found footage film. So we're running out of room for no debate. I knew that was gonna come up. I knew that was gonna get ahead of underrated eventually because obviously I think these movies have no debate that they deserve a 5 out of 5. Gone Jam Haunted Asylum. Underrated, or I do it again because I do see a lot of not hate towards it, but questioning because this was popular on TikTok and then people watched it and were like, I'm never going to trust TikTok recommendation ever again. But I think I just rate it higher than everyone else. I think I'm one of the only people who probably give this a 5 out of 5. Not literally, obviously, but in general, I think it's probably underrated to me. So I'm gonna put it underrated. I don't know what movies are left, so I really hope we don't run out of space in either of those categories, but they are full. We're gonna run out of space in those categories because next up we have Saw. Again, you know, I think a lot of people who haven't seen this misinterpret this movie as being bad, but then you watch the original and it's such a good like procedural drama for most of it, and it's not even that disturbing. I think conceptually it's more disturbing. You don't see a lot of gore. Do we even see the foot scene? You know what I mean? So I could recommend this to everybody, and I would. Can I put it in beginner? Is that weird to put a Saw film in beginner? I mean, even if you're a horror newbie, you obviously have to watch Saw. So, and it's not even because I don't want to fill up that category. I'm starting to think that maybe I would recommend the first Saw movie, not the other ones, okay? Not any of the other movies. But the first Saw film, I think even non-horror fans would like. So I think I'm gonna put it in beginner. That's a weird placement. That's a lot. And then finally, our last movie we're going to be ranking The Exorcist 3. Very strange movie to end on. I hope people would rate this 5 stars. I have no idea. I have no idea what other people's opinions are of this movie, and just for that, I'm gonna look it up because I'm very curious. 3.6, okay, that's fair. I don't think it's underrated. I really don't. But I'm not gonna put it in beginner. You don't necessarily have to have watched the original Exorcist, but I think it does help the story because there are some overlapping characters. So I don't think it deserves to be in beginner. I think I'm gonna put it in no debate. Watch it and then tell me it's not a great movie. I love the quote-unquote jump scares in it that are completely in daylight with no noise. It's great. There's still jump scares, but you're like, what is that? Because there's no emphasis on it at all. It's bright and there's no audio. And yet it manages to be some of the scariest scenes of the Exorcist movies. So I think it deserves to go in no debate. Maybe it's probably underrated, like lesser known, or people just assume it's bad because it's the third sequel. I think if people watched it, it would be a no debater. Maybe. I don't know. So there you have my official ranking of every horror movie I have rated 5 stars, at least in the past 6 years. I can't really, obviously I'm probably missing a lot of movies that I would rate 5 stars. I probably have a ton on the shelves here, but for now I'm sticking with those ones because again, we can't be here forever. There's probably 100 films that I would rate 5 stars. I'm very generous with the 5 stars sometimes. Let me know your thoughts on my ranking and also anything that you think I have obviously missed in this ranking video, or if you have any commentary on my tiers or anything at all. If you would rearrange some of these movies, let me know. Leave your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed and I will talk to you soon. Bye.